We should be live, everyone. First time. Oh, is my microphone on here? Yeah, buddy. First time in a long time. It has been a while, as they say. Hope all you're doing well. Glad to be back here live on the channel. Just started working with GB 2.0 on Friday. Oh, hey, David, what's up? Jake, good to see you. Spara Cash. I don't recognize your name in the chat, but welcome. Kyle, my resident heckler extraordinaire, is here as well. Jake says, looking forward to this, not played with the new dynamic query stuff at all. That's exactly what I want to do today. So as many of you know, we are anxiously awaiting the full release of GenerateBlocks version 2.0. This is both the free and the pro version for 2.0, and it's bringing a bunch of cool stuff, a lot of just kind of like performance optimizations under the hood that are kind of hidden in plain sight we can take a look at briefly, and then a lot of really cool new features like the query block has been totally overhauled. It can do ACF stuff. Dynamic data can, that dynamic data system is now totally overhauled as well. The local styles match globals. We're going to look at all that stuff in a little bit, and I'm really stoked about that. Kyle says, not here to heckle. We'll see about that. Adam, what's up, man? Glad to have you. Shout out my GBCC crew. So we're going to just give this a couple minutes here and warm up, see how everybody is doing. Oh, I saw this new little thing. Taylor, what up, buddy? There was this thing that I saw. Where did it go? Ooh, I can create a goal here. So what should my goal be? I had one super chat. We'll do an hour, and then I'll go live again next week. Start goal. There we go. Boom, baby. Your goal's live. Share with your audience to get them excited. I know. Well, thankfully, the twin babyolas are, they're actually with their mom over at her mom's house. So the house is quiet. There will not be screaming babies in the background of this episode. But actually, they're typically pretty good. In the daytime, morning and the daytime, they are actually really good. It tends to be like the sundown scaries hit really hard and they just lose their minds. Dave, thank you. I need help. I'm not going to be able to keep him in check by myself. So I appreciate you very much. That help is much appreciated. Thank you so much, Laura. I'm really just like pleased. Everything is going well. There's a couple things we're keeping an eye on right now at the doctors with the babies. But it's just twin things. They came early. There was 2 of them in there. They ran out of space. There's small little complications like that. But for the most part, we're really optimistic and excited. There's really nothing for us to be super concerned at this point. So glad to see people already hopping in. And this is the first stream I've done in a while. I'm just really pleased to be back. I've been working kind of quietly in the background. As some of you know, I've been doing videos on the Generate Press channel. We have a couple of those queued up for when the GB 2.0 actually full release happens. So that's going to be cool. And then other than that, I have a, 24-month badge, Taylor. Nice job. Membership for 24 months. That's crazy. You and Kyle both. Let's see. What was I saying? I don't remember. Laura, would these new features make what we did with ACF not necessary? Not necessarily. That would be, it might just change how it would work. So it actually honestly be a bit easier now. And there are certain things like the, getting things like WP Grid Builder to work. I need to update a tutorial on that because not only has WP Grid Builder been updated, it just looks different. So the tutorial is kind of out of date. I also think that it would actually be easier to implement certain things like that. I actually just yesterday was working on a site where I was updating my sal.js, the animations tutorial that I did, the one where it's just like basically simple animations that they slide in, kind of move around. And it's actually even easier to implement that now than it used to be. So that's pretty cool. There's going to be some really nice quality of life things like that. But as you've, come to love and expect with Generate across the board, it's just super stable. They move slowly, sometimes really slowly, but you know that when it comes out, it's going to be stable and have all the features you need. Yeah, look at that, Taylor spamming all that membership badge chat. So yeah, we're going to get rolling here in just a minute. I usually like to give everybody a couple 5 minutes or so to kind of get the notifications rolling out. So I have a little bit of an outline today. I'm just going to show you a little bit of the changes behind the scenes. And in fact, let me check my little site here. Do we have the proper blocks here? We do not. How do I do this? Already running into a problem. Let's see. There's apparently some way to like turn off the GB 1.0 blocks. And maybe I'm actually just going to get rid of the site library that I had installed. I know I'm not sharing my screen yet. I'm not actually intending to. I wanted to check something before I started sharing my screen. As you've come to love with my tutorials, we typically are not too worried about making it look pretty. We get it to work and functional, and you run with it from there. Let me, oh, it's bottom of the GB settings tab. Is it? Oh, okay. Yeah, I wonder, let me actually generate press. Let me pop that site library back on. I'll do this. The site library, I think, is not updated yet to support version 2 blocks. Okay, let me share my screen and let's get rolling here. We got some stuff to do, no time to waste. Window, mic, and face. Yeah. Alrighty, so bring this in a bit, bring this up a bit. You can tell I'm a bit out of practice here. All right, so the first thing I did was just install the Affinity template. And what I wanted to do, Leonardo, what's up? Welcome in. GenerateBlocks settings. You said it's at the bottom? What I wanted to do was I installed that Affinity site template and it's not using the new blocks yet. So maybe that's not possible for me to do. Like maybe I have to add blocks to it. I thought maybe it would just like let me do it. But the first thing that you'll notice is when you go to the new block inserter, there is a GenerateBlocks text element. So it seems like they've added a whole new block here, but that's actually not the case, which is pretty cool. It really is the same block under the hood. And what you do is you can just drop that in. And of course you can switch it back and forth between the various heading levels, but under the hood, it's just the exact same element with an attribute that tells GenerateBlocks what HTML to render on the front end. So if we just do like test, we can switch over to the code view, we'll look for test, and you can see just GenerateBlocks text, and then it says tag name is P. So it's really cool. That basically just means that there's not actually a new block. It's just kind of a convenient way to add text directly into your site. But as you can see, the query block is no longer query loop. It's called just query because it can do more than just loop through posts. We're going to take a look at that. And that's the main bulk of what I want to do today, is just taking a look at the dynamic data pieces and then the query side of things. So let me make sure I got my notes pulled up on my other screen here. Yeah, so the full release is coming in just a few days. Let's see, GenerateBlocks 2.0. And then here's your boys video here at the top. February 12th. Okay, so looks like we're going to get another RC and then a release sometime in the next week or two. That seems like it might have changed just a little bit, but that's okay. Like I said, when you work with Generate, you just know that it's going to be stable and reliable whenever it does finally drop. So, like I said, the main thing I want to do is go over the dynamic data pieces, which, as you know, is the thing I'm probably most excited about overall. I also wanted to mention that my Generate Made Easy course is going to get a total overhaul. It is closed right now. The old version is now basically completely out of date. Almost everything to do with the GenerateBlocks side of that course is now needing a rework. So if you want to be notified for some updates on that, visit my website and you can check that out, drop it in chat, make it easy for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and walk through some examples here. So the first thing that I want to do is, of course, I have Advanced Custom Fields Pro installed, and that's because most of the cool stuff that I would want to do with this update involves some custom fields. So the cool thing now is that let me just go to, let's just go create like an element here. Let's see, I guess loop template blog will be fine because it'll already have a query, so we can just take a look at that. So when we go look at the query, whoops, that's the old loop. Query, we'll just do 2 columns, that's fine. We go to post type over here, and you can see that there's some options. So instead of just post query, we have post meta, which is going to be like pulling in a custom field value like an ACF repeater, or even just a standard like text field, custom field from something like PyCalendar even. You can pull those in here via that meta key box. So you would just type in, you know, my custom field, and You do have to press enter or click add, which is pretty annoying. But once you do that, then that is what the query is going to pull in. Obviously, you also saw that there is the query type for option here too. So if you have some, like an ACF options page, you can pull in data from that, which is cool. I actually didn't have that in my notes. That's definitely something we should look at if we have time. For those of you watching, how many of you are familiar with options pages, and also how many of you actually use options pages? It's not something I find myself doing. So let me know in the chat, because that may be something that either we bump to the top of the list here or we take a look at later if we have some extra time. Show how that works and some examples. Okay. The options page stuff, like I said, is not something I use super often. I think in like the last, I don't know, maybe like 10 site builds, I probably used it once. Yeah, David, that's like the typical example. Standard options page for general organization stuff, like phone number, social links, like things like that. Options pages on every site 100. Pretty much every build. Wow, that's actually an interesting mix. Mark, David, and Jake all mention using it pretty much always. And then Adam, myself, and Sparakash don't really. Fascinating. Very, very, very interesting. Good to see you, Mark, by the way. Didn't shout you out. I didn't know you were lurking in here, buddy. Also, your wound looks intense. Cray, dude. Okay, set up as a default in my starter site. Yeah. So tell me, David says phone address, bio, short description, social links. Okay. Yeah, so other than that, like standard kind of organizational information, what else do you guys use options pages for? I used it one time. I have a tutorial where you can control like sections of the site, like with block visibility. That was really cool to like kind of show and hide chunks of the site just based on like an ACF radio field on an options page. But that wouldn't really apply to the query here. I wonder what would you query from an option page, like a repeater on an options page? What would be an example of that? Maybe somebody like Ask ChatGPT, or if you have an idea, let me know. But I have some ideas written down here. So obviously with the post query, you can do all the normal stuff. You know, you can pull in various post types. You have all the parameters from before. And so you can still do cool stuff like, actually, you know what, David, while you're here, you were talking about ordering the queries by custom fields. So you could go order, let's see, you want order by, and then isn't there a post meta? Menu order, parent ID, last modified. Title. Surely you could like hook that in somehow, I would think. Yeah. I'm surprised that's actually not there. Interesting. Jake says possibly store locations as an options repeater. That would work. And then I'm thinking about using an options page for a particular department or large organization that needs a way to post weather closures and stuff. Connected to an element. Okay. Yeah. Guess you could do different kinds of like notifications and stuff. Options page, business details, social link stats, basically anything you want to be dynamic. Yeah. Okay. So there's lots of use cases for it. What I was hoping was in the order by parameter that I'd be able to do it by custom field value. Taylor, we need you. I wonder if that's just like an oversight. Menu order random, because like if you could do an order by like a custom field value of like a date or something like that, I feel like there's surely a way to expand it. I wonder if it's any different in the post meta. Oh, yeah, I guess you don't have those same kind of controls. That's interesting. Yeah, David, you were the one that made me think of it just now, so that's interesting. It's in filters. Yeah, I figured you could add a filter for that. That would be nice. And then you could do something like order post by like the Pi calendar, like start date field or whatever. Okay, so with that, there's a couple of other cool things I wanted to touch on here before we get too far. One thing is that in the new version in GenerateBlocks 2.0, we have kind of the settings tab that's going to show you some of the standard things that you would expect depending on the type of element. So like we've got this container here, it's set to div. So kind of the quick things that you'd want to do, like swap the HTML tag or like drop a background image, dynamic tag so you can bring in the image that way. And then of course, like if you're using a grid block, for example, the layout, like the grid columns, is put there for you as well. Same thing for like an image. Oops, let's go image, GenerateBlocks image. Then some of the standard settings and controls that you would want are right there. But then, of course, the other cool thing is that the local styles now match the global style system. So since the previous version of GenerateBlocks, there's been a kind of a disparity between what you could do in local styles versus what you could do in a class or global styles. But now that's no longer the case. So you can see the controls look basically identical. If I were to just add a global style so I can just get in there, you can see now it matches pretty much perfectly one-to-one. The other really cool thing that I am loving is the ability to search for any control. So if you wanted to type in box for box shadow, color for any kind of color aspect, and then what is it? Like if you do text color, it brings in just text. You could also type in color, shadow, for example, and you can get any of the color controls, and then you get like box shadow and text shadow. You do, border and margin or whatever, stuff like that. I find myself basically not even hunting for the control now, especially because like if you were working before and let's say you had a bunch of stuff going on and you're like, you got a bunch of these side windows open, you like kind of get lost with where you are. But since the search is always there, you can just be like, margin top or whatever. Just type in top and you get all the top related controls. I love, 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 love this search control thing. It's really, really neat. Another thing is you also have the ability to show, hide any of the controls that are empty. So this is pretty cool too. So like in this case, this global style that I'm on, GBP section, the only value set is things to do with the padding here. So I have hide every control except the ones that have a value in it. And in this case, it's just the padding. I'm really stoked for when they get this show inherited values thing working. It doesn't quite work yet, but you'll be able to see, like, depending on where you are, inheritance levels of like the text color. If you're down on like a text block inside of a container and the container has a text color or a global style set on it, this text element will indicate right here, it's going to say like this color is coming from this element, for example. So I think right now that only works. Let's just do like a local style, and then if we go to like a global style, we'll just type in like color. So now I'm in a global style on the same element. If I go to typography, I can see there's this little indicator here, and it's telling me that text color is coming from the local style in this element, but it should work as like an inheritance, just like you would expect in actual CSS too. So that's going to be pretty cool. Sometimes, it can be annoying when you're hunting for a control, like where the hell is that coming from? If it's like padding or color or something like that. That can save you some time rather than have to go like inspect on the front end. So that's pretty cool. Taylor says, I wish you could search by value too. Yeah, me too, dude. That would actually be cool. I didn't even think about that. So like if you knew, what is this? Your spacing parameter. Oh wait, it was on this container. I think I added that class. What did I do with that global style? Was it on my image? Oh, I put a section thing on my image. That's stupid. Yeah, what is the value here? So it's 8. Can you just type in 8? No. That would be pretty cool. That probably would be one of those things that they set out to do and it would be like nearly impossible. That sounds really difficult to try and code in. I think that's about all the cool stuff that I wanted to show you just in terms of the quick 2.0 overview. There's some other things that I'm sure I'm forgetting that are pretty neat that you'll just discover as you start using it. But the main thing is let's get on to the ACF stuff. I really want to do some dynamic shiz. So I have some examples here. What I want to do is just show you some of the dynamic tags first. That's where we're going to start. So the first thing is, of course, if you drop in like a text element, the dynamic button is now this little like icon right here. In the past, it was an option over here in the lower right in the advanced panel here, which is pretty annoying. And then you can also get to it depending on the element in this settings panel, like you saw for that image earlier. But in this case, for this text element, we can click the little button to get the dynamic tags window, and then all the standard stuff that you would expect, like post title, because of course, in this example element, we're on a loop. You can bring in the post titles, all the various standard fields that you would expect. All that stuff is here. And then of course you can do like post meta, so you can bring in custom fields. Now, the thing that's so cool about this is that it's super flexible. So if you wanted to bring in like a value about the author, where is that? So we can go like author meta, and then meta key, might just be like first name. We can drop that in. And then in this case, I don't think it's going to work because we're on an element rather than an individual post. And in fact, I probably should put this query back. Let's actually just build that out real quick. So we're going to go query, 2 columns, post query is standard, and then we'll just drop in a text block. We'll go with author, meta key will be first name, add that in, and then that's going to drop in our author meta for those. So now if we go to blog, oh, these posts probably don't have an author because I generated them. I generated them with, oh, here we go. It was just, okay, because that user doesn't have a, set, a first name set. So there we go. Now it just brings in the user information. So really nice and easy. And you can see that you actually have the ability with that tag to modify it, just with text. You don't have to go through the dynamic data dialog, which is cool. And then you can also add multiple tags. So before in GenerateBlocks dynamic data, you only had the ability to do one kind of thing per element, but now you can kind of add them in line. So like if I wanted to say, I can add something in front of this, it can be like written by, and then the tag, for example. Or you can say like written by Jonathan on, go back here, insert another one, and then just go like post date. So now there's, basically 2 tags combined together in one text element. So that's really cool. Very nice quality of life feature to be able to combine that stuff together. The thing that I think is really cool about the author meta is that, like for example, I build membership sites for clients quite often. And let's say we wanted to add some user fields. And let's say, for example, we had like a radio. And this field label is going to be like membership level. I spelled membership wrong, of course. Membership level. And I thought it would lowercase that for me, but apparently not. Our choices are going to be like, bronze, silver, and gold. And then that should be fine. We'll go ahead and set this to our user. Let's see, is logged in. I think that should add it to our user profile. Let's go take a look. Yep, here we go. So membership level. And actually in a real site, I would want to go to validation and say allow null and then make it required. So whenever we load this, the membership level is not set and it forces me to select one. So let's say my membership level is gold because I pay the most money. Then what I could do is basically anywhere on the site, like for example, my home page, you could display that value. So we'll just go, let's actually just delete this headline so it's not so big. To make it more readable, I'll just drop in a headline. We'll say dynamic data user meta. That meta key was what? I already forgot. Membership level. Membership level. Why would you not let me add? There we go. Oh, and that actually popped in. I forgot that it does that. Shows that ACF field group and says membership level. So we'll insert this. And you can see actually here in the back end, which is cool, it shows my membership level. So you can say, membership, which is cool. So being able to bring in those user meta fields is extremely powerful. I definitely have to use, I needed to do this in the past, and the only way to do that was with Taylor Drayson's awesome template tags. But now that's all built right into GenerateBlocks. And of course, just to confirm, on the front end, I didn't save that because I'm an idiot. Why is this not saving? Hello? Hashtag livestream tings. Restore the backup. Save. One field requires attention. Validation failed. Why? I guess it's because this is an RC and not a full release. You get the idea. You can see it's partially working there. Naturally, of course, there's always going to be something like this that doesn't work on a live stream. But of course, I've already done this on a real site and it works. And of course, these dynamic tags are usable basically everywhere. You have an ACF field on the post, right? What? I'm not sure what you're talking about. The other thing I wanted to do is create a repeater. So we can use the query loop to bring in a repeater. So what I wanted to do is just build an example one. So we're gonna just go with like, let's actually create a page real quick, and we're gonna call this doodle-doo. Did you make membership level a required field for the post? Oh, did I mistakenly? Oh, that's weird. It didn't save my value here. Is it still on the field? Yeah, okay. All right, so now if we save this, it should work, I think. Restore the backup. Why is it on the post? Current user is equal to viewing backend? This is always a confusing one. Like where you think it should go, user form is add edit. Oh, okay, here we go, here we go. Yeah, location user form is equal to add edit. Yeah, see, I do that every single time. I always forget, like, that's not where it goes. It's kind of a confusing spot. And it's even still, it's still there. I'm not on the add edit screen. That's so stupid. There should be, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's the user fields one. Thanks, David. User form is add edit. Okay, so it's not stupid. I'm stupid. That's all. Okie dokie. Now we can go back to where I was and just say save. And now my membership is displayed on the front end. Okay, cool. That's solved. So back to what I wanted to do was create a new page. And this one I was just going to call job listings for our repeater. And view our available jobs. So we'll publish this, and our membership level is going to go away, so this will be fine. Just refresh this. Okay, and then we're going to go with ACF field group. We're going to call this available jobs. Again, we'll just call this available jobs. And then this field type is going to be repeater. So now we got to set up some subfields. I had some stuff written out here. So we're going to go with title. And then we're going to go with like a text area for responsibilities. And then let's do something else other than text. Let's do a radio. And yeah, we're going to do radio, and we're going to say location choices is going to be work from home, in office, or hybrid. And then the pay, let's do like a number field. I actually don't know if this is going to work. I assume it will, but we're going to say pay. Okay, so we got our little repeater action going. We got 4 things, a couple different field types here. And then we're going to just set this to the page is equal to job listings, because in this case, this repeater we would just want on that individual page. And I know Taylor is screaming at his screen right now because he hates this. But this is definitely a practical use case here. So available jobs, and we would just say, actually, how would I do this if this was real? Yeah, mega oof, he says. I was just thinking about how would I set this page up if this was a real real site. Rip that database, that's all good. Site's never going to be big enough for it to actually matter, even if it was a real site. So we'll say marketing director responsibilities is ASD 123 and make us more money. Location will be, let's say, hybrid, because even though they're marketing, they have to come into the office for some reason. And then the pay is going to be, let's say, $25,000, because these people don't pay enough. And then we can do another one. We can say janitor, and then clean the toilets, clean my office really good, and stay late all the time. And then they're going to be in office, and then their pay is going to be $85,000. And then we can save this. Okay. So now, actually, maybe we should do this on an options page instead of this individual page. Let's do that. We can kind of kill two birds with one stone. So we're going to go ACF options page. And then we're going to say site, I don't know, site controls or something like that. What's our advanced config here? Let's do something like little globe action. Permissions, all that looks good. So we got our site controls here. So let's go change our field group on the available jobs to, we're gonna go with options down here. It's off the screen for you guys. Options page is equal to site controls. We'll save that. And then let's see. If we go inside site controls, we have our available jobs here. So I would imagine you would probably want to set up like controls, or tabs in here. And you would probably just go with something like, you know, instead of this being the available jobs field group, you might say something like I don't know, options tabs or something like that. And then we could set up a tab here, and this field label could just be jobs. And we would stick this above the available jobs. Then we could just duplicate this tab, and maybe we would say like, you know, info or something like that. So that'll make it look a bit cleaner. So you could have like an info tab for all the fields like phone number, like address, social link, stuff like that. Okay, and I guess I wonder if I save this. Oh, I took it away. I'll just do this really quickly. Director, SD, make us more money. Post on social. Get the kids on TikTok to like us. In office. And then pay, we said 25,000. And then the janitor, clean all the gross stuff. More cleaning. Let's make this person hybrid, and then we said this one was 85,000. What's up, TTKOI? And Christian, what's up, dude? Glad to have you. Okay, so now we got this repeater on the options page. So let's go back to our job listings page. And now what we're gonna do is drop in the new GB 2.0 query block. We'll start blank here, and then we're gonna go with option. Meta key is available job, and this should just work. So now we just need to build out the various sections here. So we'll just go with text, and maybe this is like an H2. This will be, what is it? Is it option meta? Ooh, that's weird. Available jobs. This is an interesting one. I'm actually not sure how this works. I'm gonna learn here with you. So meta key title, I guess. That's not it. Must just be oh, loop item meta key title. There we go. Okay. See, this is confusing. I saw this before, and it's like, why does this one have to be a loop item? I guess because it's like a different kind of query. I don't know. I just find that super confusing. It's like, I think there should just be like I think it should just be part of the meta. I don't know. Maybe that's just a requirement and I don't understand what I'm talking about. The marketing direction. Oh, I typed in direction. That's funny. Marketing director. There we go. And dropping in a random question. So after this, we would just drop in our other fields. So another text block. This one can just be the paragraph, loop item, meta key. It's nice that it detects the available meta keys for us, so we don't even have to do that. And I guess because I used a text area field, our formatting doesn't work properly, but we can take a look at that. And then for the next field, this one will again be loop item, and this one will be the pay. And of course, this time we want to bring in the $ in front of that. And it doesn't format with the comma. Maybe there's a way that we could set that on the ACF field, but you can see it's starting to bring those in. So we'd probably want to change the margin bottom. I didn't do that on my install. There's just some default margin bottom that comes with generate press. So just like 0.5 rem to tighten that up a bit. And maybe you know, just drop in like a grid. And it's 50-50, that's perfect. So we just take our responsibilities block there and then drop in our pay over there. Maybe you align text right or whatever, something like that. Kind of far off to the right. Let's just do center. That'll be fine. Cool. Yeah, so then the people on the site would just come in here and they can obviously rearrange this because the ACF repeaters are really flexible. So we can obviously just switch those around, which is neat. And that's working great. So this is an ACF repeater being pulled in from an ACF options page, brought in with a GenerateBlocks query block in 2.0. So that's really neat. And it's actually not that hard. So again, I struggled for just a second to find what tag I would needed, and it's just the loop item, and that's all the way down here at the bottom. So if you're working in a case like this, double check that you might need this looper section loop item. I agree, Leonardo, very, very cool. It adds just so much flexibility. Okay, so the next one that I wanted to take a look at, well, actually, before I move on, anybody still watching that has some questions or wanted to see anything specifically? I guess I wanted to take a look while I see if any of you had some questions and check if the text area can include formatting. I don't think it can. Oh yeah, automatically add paragraphs, okay. And then does that just fix it? Yeah, it does. Okay, cool. So because on the field group, or on the field itself, I did like some line breaks manually and added those lines in. Turning on that formatting makes it fit really nicely. So that's cool. Yeah, Christian, I agree. That would be nice if the loop stuff just jumped to the top because you've already set that control. Like the query already knows you've changed its type to option or post meta. It would just make sense for the loop item to be at the top. But that's okay. I mean, you can search for it. So if you just knew, like once you know, you could just type in loop or LOO. Loo, I'm going to the loo item. So that's really cool. That's a pretty powerful combination of stuff you can do there. Really nice that it's just built in and obviously works really, really well. And of course, we're tying in the new dynamic tags. Like all this stuff is being brought in with dynamic tags. This is kind of one of those things that I think they set out to rebuild the query loop and kind of add some of this other stuff. And then they were like, oh, wait, we need dynamic tags overhaul to make this stuff work. So I think that's part of the reason why this release has taken so long. But we're close. We are close. Next up, I wanted to look at some of the nested loops. So apparently you can, well, actually we can also look at ACF relationship fields and post object fields. I guess we can do that related. But for nested loops, I think I have an example. George says, try and out the info as a list. Would it work with the new list item? That is a good question. So if we go loop item, I think we can just change the tag. It would be the looper tag would be, UL, and then the loop item would be like LI. And then I think we would go like list style, list type, none, and then on the front end, these should just be LIs. Yep, look at that. So the query can be changed to a UL or an OL for that matter, and then each list item is an LI. That's pretty cool. Great question. I appreciate you asking that because that works really well. And that was super easy to do. I moved really quickly, but I just looked at the looper. So this is going to be kind of the outer wrapper, and then the individual items are going to be those list items. You can also change your list type to a couple of different options here. And then you can also add your own little list image. So if you have a custom little icon you want to use as your list marker, you can do that. I do like the previews for all the dynamic data. Yes, and I heard or read or something like that they're working on making the dynamic data previews work in the next and in like GP elements in a future release. So that'll come hopefully at some point in the relatively near future. You missed how to use repeaters? I'm sure you did. You of all people can certainly figure it out. Now, any other questions before we move on here? I wanted to make sure we're good here because I like this example. I'm going to leave this and just go ahead and save it. Great question, George, on the list item controls. What I wanted to do also was nested loops. And actually, let me go back. Shout out Claire. I think, just for example's sake, while we're inside the loop item, I'm pretty sure we can just drop in another query. Yeah, we can. And then we'd be able to choose the various options. Okay, cool. Yeah, I thought about that, Christian. That example is kind of overdone. I've done it in the past. I actually had a different one. So what I wanted to do was like franchise locations. So some kind of combination of like state and city. Like if you had, you know, like a franchise that had locations in like Florida and Texas or something, to show the locations inside of that. I wasn't sure exactly how to set that up. I wonder if I can do, oh wait, I was thinking I could do that with a taxonomy query first, but I can't do that, can I? Guess I could do locations by taxonomy, which could be like the state. No, that won't work either. Oh yeah, responsibilities for job listing as a repeater. Yep, that's another good one. Trying to think about, I wanted to do like another example, something separate. Franchise locations. Oh, I got car parts showing up at the doorstep. Woohoo! Is that who that is? Oh, it's actually, it's going to be an interruption. That's unfortunate. That is super unfortunate. I might have to wrap this up quicker than I thought, or possibly just take a break for a quick second. Nested locations. Let me think about that. So if we did, I actually don't want to undo this because I want to leave that example open in case we come back and look at it later. So if we do country, state, city, I guess it would have to be like, maybe in that case, maybe it would have to be the post. Yeah, I don't know. Nested repeaters. It's so flexible that I'm almost wondering how we would set it up properly. Conference. I had another idea written down for like conference sessions with related speakers for relationship fields. ACF post object and options. So we covered the options one. I have to step away for like 3 minutes. I know it's super awkward, horrible timing. I have to deal with something on the front porch. I didn't consider this when I scheduled this, so I'm pretty out of practice, obviously, but I'm gonna go Zoom fast really quick and I will be right back. Okie dokie. That was super unfortunate timing. Oh boy. Out of breath. But I'm back. Okay. What about categorizing FAQs? Oh yeah, Leonardo says the thing about selectors that you can easily target anything. That's so true. You can basically pretty much do anything with the selectors now, since you can add custom values and compound selectors and stuff. David says, now I'm wondering what makes more sense to do via options repeaters instead of CPTs. Well, the thing about that is that with CPTs, you can make like templates out of them. And you have a bit more flexibility. So it really depends on the data. I tend to lean more towards custom post types, especially prior to now with the limitation of repeaters not even being there, because you didn't have the option to without manually coding it. So we found a lot of ways to do it, and it actually ends up benefiting the user experience, I think, especially for end users and clients and stuff. Like working with repeaters and like that sort of thing is really not that friendly. So in a case like this where it's pretty simple data, like that's fine. But I think as the posts get more complicated, like if you're using multiple different kinds of sections and like a, like a case study type template, I would definitely go CPTs and maybe pepper in some custom fields. But even then it's still kind of clunky. Yeah, Christian, that's the other thing. Better for the database options tables. I mean, really, I think that's something that people get bent out of shape about too much when the site is small, but definitely a concern as the site starts to get larger, more traffic, more data, more users, that kind of thing. But for brochure sites, small business sites, it's not that big of a deal. Let me go back to my notes here. So I really want to find a way to do this nested loops for locations, like franchise locations for stores. So some kind of correlation between like state, like there needs to be like a state. I guess that would kind of combine a relationship. If you had like a state and city, state with the posts inside of it. I don't know. It's more like a taxonomy though, which is kind of frustrating because you can't do a taxonomy query. I thought you could do that. Maybe that's coming. Maybe they'll add taxonomy queries and user queries, because then that would basically solve it. You could have just like a locations place, like franchise, CPT, and have categories for like city and state, and then kind of query those based on that. So I guess let me think of a different option here. My old buddy ChatGPT might do it. Categorizing the FAQs, I feel like, is in a similar thing, Christian, in terms of like taxonomies and stuff. So give me another idea instead of this. That would work better. This one fights against CPT. Query, it can't yet do taxonomy queries. Do. All right, thanks so much, David. Good to see you, man. Thanks for your time. What about, we could do, see, like posts and posts don't really go together there. Trying to think about another one. What was your idea again, Christian? You said categorizing FAQs. Can it do that? I wonder also if it can do like the accordions inside of a repeater. That would be nice. Keep it brief and give me 5 new examples. Trying to see if ChatGPT can give me something else better. E-learning and courses, that would work. Like a courses and lessons kind of thing. Or like a, modules and lessons. That's kind of clunky though. Events and guests. Actually, yeah, okay, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do events and guests. And then event CPT and an ACF repeater for speaker lineup. Yeah, okay, that'll work. That'll work. That's what we're gonna do. So let's create a post type, and we'll call this one events, event, and then we'll leave that alone for now. Advanced config, what else do we need to worry about here? I think we need to turn on archive, wherever that is. I always forget. Archive, here we go. And then we'll create another repeater. So event speakers. And then this one can be a repeater. Field label will be speakers. Actually, I'll rename this field group event data because you might want to add more than just speakers here eventually. So we can go speakers name, and then maybe like their, I like to do URLs and text fields because it's just easier for me. And I think it's just less clunky. So we could go like website URL. Okay. And then post type is equal to event. So we're going to go with events, and we'll just say WordCamp. Actually, no, let's not do that. I'm not going to do anything copyrighted. I don't want to get shut down and sued. What's an event name? We're going to go with Permacon. Awesome. Yes, perfect. Thanks, dude. The best conference this side of the Mississippi. Yeah, baby. Okay. So then speaker name, we're going to go Christian, and I'm going to copy your name because I'm definitely going to mistype that. And your website is, I don't know. We're going to go with Google. And then we're going to go with Leonardo. And your website will be google.com/images. If I can type that too. Okay, and then we want one other post. So we're going to go with DutchCon and the best things about the Netherlands. And then speaker's name will be me because I know a lot about the Netherlands. And then let's see, we're going to go with David Mitchell. And he's also going to be google.com/images. Okay. So now what I want to do is let's create a loop template. So we're going to create a generate press element. This is going to be our events archive template. We're going to create a GenerateBlocks container, and we're going to stick in the inner container. So it's restricted to the width. And then we'll just toss on some padding real quick. So you can just use these controls to just go, let's say 4 rim, top and bottom padding. Complexity, event CPT, speaker CPT. Yeah, you could definitely combine different CPTs with a relationship field. And that would be pretty cool because you could definitely do that, I think. So then in this case, we want to go query, and we'll do 2 columns here. And then in this case, it just defaults to posts. So we need to change that. What we can do is, because we're going to apply this to our template, we can just say inherit query from template. We're going to go down here to our display rules, and we're going to say event all events. And then our element needs to be switched to a loop template like that. So now what we need to do is change this, to loop item, I think. This one is going to be, oh, actually we need a, no, this is not loop item. This one is going to be post title. And then we're going to say, in this case, we'll just delete this. We don't need that. And actually, so we can see this, the inherit query will work in this case, but so we can see it, I actually want to set my post type to events. So we got DutchCon and Permacon. And we're just going to type in speakers here. Looks like there's no margin bottom on this. Let's do like 1 rem. Or no, that's padding. I have my filter control here. Spacing, margin bottom is 5 pixels. Let's go with 1.5 rem. I'm going to say speakers, and then we're going to add in another query. We'll do start blank in this case. Query type is going to be post meta. The meta key will be the name of the repeater, which I already forgot. Event data. Oh, it was just speakers. I should have known that. So we'll add that in. Then inside of this nested query, we'll do a text block, and we're just going to say loop item is the meta key of speaker's name. Jonathan and David, Christian and Leonardo, working beautifully. So in this case, you might want to like wrap this in a little, boxy box, and we could just stick 1 rim of padding on it, and then, I don't know, maybe some box shadow or something. 0, 4, 10, 0. Lift it up off the page a little bit, give it some differentiation. And then we had another item, which was the speaker's, let's see, what was it? The speaker's website URL. So then let's see what we can do here. I think we'd probably just want to go with like a button, I guess. And we would say visit. I was going to try to do their first name, but I forgot since we stuck in their name as 1 field, we can't quite pull it out easily. I guess you could separate it out into 2 fields if you wanted first name, last name. And then that way you could say like visit, first name's website. But in this case, I'm just going to type in visit their website. This button is huge. I know, we'll fix that. So then the link destination is again going to be loop item, meta key, website URL. Drop that in. Link, open a new tab would be good. Tag name of A is fine. And then for the button styles, I would hope that it would be a lot smaller than this. So, like 0.25 rem maybe. And we'll just do that all. Oh, nope, 0.25 rem. And maybe left is 1 and right is 1 rem, something like that. Margin bottom on this, maybe 0.5 rem. And then for the individual loop item, we'll set a margin bottom of 1 rem to space this out a bit. Okie dokie. So now, if we go to our events, view the event archive, that is not working. Oh, I bet my permalinks are wrong. They are. Whoopsie daisy. And it's still wrong. Why does it work in the preview? Oh, it's not on the archive. It was set to the single event. There we go. Oh, come on. It works in the back end, but not the front end. What the hell? Why is that? Also, I've set my little, for some reason that post type has a lowercase control on it here. Oh, it's because I made it lowercase, that's why. Why is that not working? Oh, there must be another template that's overriding it, I bet. I guess let's change, in this case, now that we know it's working and we can see it, let's set the block to inherit query from template, and I bet that'll work. Nope. Oh, this is setting to all archives. Okay, so that's gonna override it on this affinity site template example here. Now it should work. Events, view. There we go. Cool. So that's working now. So this is nested queries, which is awesome. So we're bringing in the post on kind of this outer wrapper. This event is called DutchCon, and then we have PermaCon. And then inside of that, we have a repeater also brought in. So this is bringing in those rows. So my website, google.com, and then David Mitchell's takes us to Google Image. Same thing for Leonardo and Christian, just as we'd expect. So that gives you lots and lots of flexibility. Now, I think that there's tons of different ways that you could do this. There's tons and tons of combinations. So, I mean, I was kind of brainstorming things with ChatGPT, like events and guest speakers is definitely one, client projects and testimonials. It starts to get into the layer of advanced custom fields where instead of using a repeater, you might consider using like a relationship to tie two posts together. And that would be something that would work really well. One thing I wanted to do real quick was I wanted to bring in a custom meta field like PyCalendar. Since we're using an event template, we're going to go to events. We're going to say DutchCon. PyCalendar adds this show on calendar toggle, and I'm just going to say that happens this Saturday, or this Saturday at 10 a.m. and it goes until Sunday at 5 p.m. Then we'll go to PermaCon, and we'll say that happens on March 5th at 11:38 a.m. That's fine. Perfect. So then I would want to go edit my event archive template, and we're going to bring in that custom meta field. So text, we're just going to type in, let's say starts, and then we're going to bring in post meta. Meta key is going to be underscore PyCal underscore start date. Insert, and then it does format it in the way that it's saved to the database, because PyCalendar has a very standard, like this is an ISO 8601, like a really standard format that's safe to use in PHP, and JavaScript can manipulate it, and there's a lot of benefits to using it this way, except for the fact that when you want to show it here, that it's not easily, like, you can't really read that. I don't think there's documentation on it yet, but I think there's a way to format this. I think there's another key that's like format, like date, something like that. Like format date, it would be like FJY or, something like that. I don't think this is going to work. Yeah, that's not it. But there's some function. Oh, I think you have to use like a bar between them. I think it's like format and then like date. I forget. I saw it somewhere. Ian from the team showed it to me, and maybe it's just in dev mode. Obviously that doesn't work. I wonder if the format thing is wrong. I wonder if it's like date FJY. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly, but you can see that you can bring in, oh, look, it broke as soon as I brought that in. Yep. You can see though, you can bring in the custom meta fields from basically anything. So we set that to, the March 5th, and then that one is February, whatever we said, February 8th, something like that. So really, really cool how flexible and powerful all this stuff is. What else did I have on my list? There was relationships, post object fields, options, dynamic tags. Pretty cool stuff, I would say. Seems like most everything you would want to do is here. I hope that they add the ability to query based on a taxonomy. If you can do a taxonomy and show all the posts inside that taxonomy, that would be great. Thanks so much for hanging out, Leonardo. We're wrapping up here anyway. Appreciate you. If you have any questions, definitely let me know. Anything you'd like to see before we start wrapping up here. I'm really pleased with how all this is working. And as you can see, it's flexible, it's really fast, it's easy to use. And other than, like I said, taxonomy stuff, I think there's still lots of flexibility here. Options pages, repeaters, relationships, all that stuff works. Pretty cool. If nobody else has any questions, thoughts, comments, concerns, let me know. Obviously, before we go, make sure you are signed up on my website for notifications for when the next version of Generate Made Easy comes out. That's currently closed, but I'm reworking that for the future. And then, obviously, as you saw, check out PyCalendar too. We're really proud of that. PyCalendar's come a long, long, long way. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed this. Thank you so much for hanging out this whole time. Good to see everyone. First live stream in a long time, so I appreciate the love and support. Until next time, I will see you later. Toodaloo.